The most haunted residential complex in Hong Kong has two peculiar features. Number one, it maintains an unusually large number of around 100 stigmatized properties. In Hong Kong, stigmatized properties, or Hongzak in Cantonese, bear this label because of their association with tragedy. Because these events are believed to bring bad luck and negative energy to the space, this makes them almost impossible to sell or rent out. Number two, over its 45-year history, the complex has seen an uncharacteristically high number of cases where people ended things by jumping. The most notorious case happened on August 7th, 2006, during the Chinese Hungry Ghost Festival. This is a month when spirits from the underworld are allowed to roam amongst the living. During this time, it's believed that while most spirits return to visit their living relatives, those with unfinished business can also come back to seek revenge. This is the curse of the woman in red. One evening, residents of Yau Oi Estate took to the streets, burning incense and making offerings to pay respects to their deceased ancestors. As they looked up, they witnessed a woman dressed in a full red ensemble, a red blouse, red trousers, red shoes, with lips and nails painted red to match. She stood by the railing on the 21st floor, mumbling to herself as she scattered joss paper, sheets of money meant for burning as offerings to the deceased, over the edge. After finishing her ritual, she stepped onto a short red stool. Tragically, she lost her life after falling from the 21st floor. News of the woman in red sent shockwaves throughout Hong Kong. People believed that only someone with a deep-seated vendetta would end themselves in the way that she did. After the tragic incident, 4 people received envelopes addressed to them. These were the chairman and a member of the Mutual Aid Committee, along with 2 security guards. Mutual aid committees were the equivalent of tenant associations for public housing. Inside each of the envelopes, more joss paper, and on a sheet of red paper, a message was scrawled. Revenge to be exacted from beyond the grave. Even in death, I will not release you, nor grant you peace. The 4 people were so scared that they quickly began raising money for spiritual practitioners. They wanted them to perform cleansing rituals around the complex. Mr. Mack, chairman of the Mutual Aid Committee, made a statement affirming that he had received the letter. He asserted that he had a clear conscience, but oddly refused to share the exact content of his letter. He claimed it was in the hands of the police. The woman in red's actions suggested a sense of hatred so intense and unresolved that even as a spirit, she wouldn't let go of those she held grievances against. The meaning behind wearing red for revenge lies in the superstitious belief that ghosts are scared of this color. But by dressing in red at the time of ending things, the person, once transformed into a ghost, would no longer be averse to red. Also, the woman in red executed her plan on the 14th day of the 7th lunar month during the Hungry Ghost Festival. In Chinese culture, this period sees more supernatural activity because it's when the gates between the underworld and the world of the living open. The result? A powerful, vengeful spirit, fueled by pure resentment, intending to inflict harm on her enemies from the afterlife. The police investigation revealed that the woman in red was 55-year-old Miss Yip. She was a divorced woman who lived on the 22nd floor of Oi Ming House in the estate. A note was discovered in Miss Yip's apartment. The contents, written in red ink, were messy and hard to read, but they revealed that she was upset about her neighbor who hosted noisy mahjong games until well after midnight. The lack of assistance from the Mutual Aid Committee or security personnel further deteriorated her mental state. Her motivations then became clear. Alive or otherwise, she was punishing the same 4 people who failed to address her repeated noise complaints over the course of months. The note also detailed how her neighbors made rude and disrespectful remarks about her. This deeply upset Miss Yip. The strange twist? The neighbor whom she accused of hosting noisy mahjong games had moved out 3 years prior, after Miss Yip threatened to burn them alive. In her final plea to her family members, she requested that they refrain from performing any rituals for her soul to reach salvation. Miss Yip had lived at Oi Ming House in the estate for more than 20 years. According to neighbors, she was known for being friendly and loving to dress up. They affectionately called her A Lang in Cantonese, an endearing term used to highlight her beauty and grace. She divorced almost 10 years ago, working as a restaurant hostess to support her 3 children, a daughter and 2 sons. The daughter lived with her husband, while Miss Yip stayed with her sons. In recent years, her elder son had gotten married and moved out. Feeling upset about her life, she fell into depression and needed medication regularly. "Very lonely, very unhappy, but I'm not crazy," her note read. The note also expressed that she was upset about her son ignoring her. In her last days, she was easily irritable, her mood highly volatile. She stopped greeting her neighbors when they passed by. One neighbor who knew her well mentioned that Miss Yip had been acting strangely in recent years, often lighting garbage cans on fire in the stairwell. The fates of the 4 people Miss Yip targeted remain unclear to this day. Still, her powerful chokehold on the complex from the afterlife quickly became clear. "10 days after Miss Yip's initial incident, a 54-year-old woman called Miss Leung fell from the 23rd floor. She was rushed to the hospital by paramedics, but didn't make it. Chillingly, the spot where she landed was the exact spot where Miss Yip fell. On the 23rd floor staircase landing, police discovered Miss Leung's slippers. A note also revealed that she had a terminal illness. Panic spread throughout Yau Oi Estate, with residents thinking the complex was cursed. Some made arrangements to move away. The ones who stayed pooled their resources, hiring Taoist priests to perform purification rituals. Secretary of the Yau Oi Estate Mutual Aid Committee, Lau Kwok Hung, had originally picked a special day for the rituals as advised by Taoist priests. They determined that the 23rd of August, 16 days after Miss Yip's incident, would align with the spiritual cleansing. But after Miss Leung's incident, the ritual was expedited to prevent further tragedies. At 4:30 p.m. that day, Taoist priest Wong Kam led a purification ceremony at Yau Oi Estate. He used incense and candles to purify and create a sacred space. Rice, wine, and fruits as offerings, and willow branches to cleanse and connect to nature. Residents followed his instructions, burning incense and joss paper while saying prayers. This was to fight negative energy and aid spirits on their journey to the afterlife. But these efforts were in vain because the tragedies were only just beginning. 2 months later, a man added to the building's death toll by again jumping. What made this even stranger? The man wasn't a resident of Yau Oi Estate. He traveled there with the sole intention of ending things. In less than 2 years, the building had seen 6 jumpers, casting a dark shadow over the community. For years after the incident of the woman in red, a series of hauntings plagued the entire complex. Residents recounted hearing a familiar thud echoing from the same spot where Miss Yip landed. Others witnessed the apparition of a woman with a disfigured face wandering the corridors. Some even reported sightings of the woman in red herself, only for her to vanish around dead ends without a trace. This caused them to believe that Miss Yip's spirit, with her unresolved grievances, was still present in the complex, seeking vengeance. On a 17th floor apartment in Oi Ming House, an elderly woman was occupied with her chores at home. As she stepped onto the balcony to clean the outside windows, she felt a strange presence beside her. It was an eerie sensation, like an unseen force wanting to connect with her. She became so unsettled that she paused to rest on the living room couch, seeking a break from this inexplicably uneasy feeling. But a strange feeling tugged at her, compelling her back to the balcony to resume her chores. Suddenly, a loud, fearful scream echoed throughout the home. "Ghost!" The old lady screamed at the top of her lungs. Her alarmed family members rushed to the balcony. Frantically, they looked down to reveal that the elderly woman had fallen to the ground below. During her descent, she collided with a drying rack on the 11th floor and an antenna on the 7th floor, but the height of the fall meant that these obstacles had little to no effect, sealing her fate. Following an investigation, the police concluded that her fall was an accident. They didn't provide further analysis about the woman's screams before her death. So, the question remained, what or who did she see that caused her to yell "ghost" moments before her fall? The community was quick to speculate that she had fallen victim to the curse of the woman in red. A week later, a family of 4 living on the 11th floor of Oi Ming House got into a severe car accident. All of them suffered serious injuries. While the traffic police were compiling the report, they discovered something surprising. The family lived in the same apartment where the elderly woman had collided into their drying rack just a week earlier. Around the same time, a 7th floor homeowner called the police after returning home to something truly disturbing. Their nanny had been electrocuted to death by a leaky fish tank. Adding to the eeriness of the situation, this was the exact unit that had its antenna damaged by the elderly woman's fall. This uncanny string of events didn't evade the attention of the police. They couldn't ignore the strange pattern, realizing how improbable it was that tragedy would strike people on both the 11th and 7th floors in such a short time span. The other residents were left terrified, gripped by the chilling thought that they could be next in line. In the aftermath, the disturbing reputation of Yau Oi Estate spread like wildfire across Hong Kong, earning it the title of the city's most haunted residential complex. Soon after, a wave of residents decided to pack up and leave. Only the bravest stayed behind to face the woman in red. Amid the constant turnover of residents at Yau Oi Estate, one thing stands out. The old unit on the 22nd floor, once owned by Miss Yip, remains abandoned to this day.